Hello fellow mortals, welcome back. Today I'm going to continue talking about Inelda's 3-phase model of doula care. In particular, I'll be talking about summing up. I'm doing this a little out of order, so phase 1 is summing up and planning. Phase 2 is conducting vigil, and phase 3 is early grief and reprocessing. So in my video a couple of weeks ago, I talked a lot about planning and conducting vigil. So like I said, I'm going a little out of order here. Of course, every experience with every dying person is going to be different. So we might not go through all these phases. We might go through only one phase, or maybe just 2 phases, or maybe all 3, but in a different order. Anyway, so the summing up phase is an opportunity for the dying person to explore the meaning of their life. It's also an opportunity to address any unfinished business they might have, as cliche as that sounds. So any regrets about past experiences, any guilt or shame tied to any of those experiences. It's also an opportunity to work on a legacy project, which I talked about in my video a couple of weeks ago. So in essence, the doula is helping the dying person to wrap up anything they need to wrap up before they transition. Ideally, this phase should start months to weeks before the person starts actively dying, so that they have the energy and cognitive ability to do what they need to do in this phase. But of course, that doesn't always happen. In my experience as a doula, I have most often been called to work with dying people as they are actively dying. Sometimes they have been dying for days already by the time that I get there. So I haven't had too much experience with this kind of work in particular. But to give a quick example, I did work with a lady a couple of years ago, and I was lucky enough to work with her for an entire summer, so a couple of months. And this woman felt like she was, in her words, a bad Christian. So she really wanted to talk a lot about that in our time that we had together. I made sure to tell her up front that I was not a religious person, much less a chaplain or any sort of religious leader. And I did connect her with our chaplain through hospice so that he could further explore this topic with her. I do remember asking her at one point why she felt like she didn't want to talk about this with her own kids, because she was very close with her 5 or 6 kids who were all grown. She told me that she felt like she was going to burden them by talking about it. And there were certain parts of her life that she didn't feel comfortable talking about with her kids that she would have rather talked about with me. So that's what we did. Listening to myself, I'm realizing that summing up sounds a lot like therapy. I have been asked before when I've explained what doulas are to people, they're like, isn't that a therapist? And no, we are not therapists. My cat needs a therapist. We're not diagnosing anybody. We are not coming up with treatment plans or anything like that. We are simply listening and helping the person to come to terms with what they are facing at the end of their life. Anyway, that is all I have time for today. Bobo stopped in to say hi, and I will see you in the next one.